Good morning. Welcome to today's program. I hope everyone is having a great day and has done a lot of their shopping for the holidays. I know I'm not finished yet. Ellen, I still haven't got my gift for you yet.
Oh, I'm just sorry. Thank you.
Just kidding.
Keep shopping.
Keep shopping. So this morning we are joined with Ellen Silverstein, president of the MSATP, and Chuck Liptz. I know I've said that wrong. And from the Social Security Administration. I want to welcome both of you today, this morning, to the program.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
morning.
Well, and Chuck is going to enjoy and enlighten us with a lot of great information, and so I'm really looking forward to it. But before we move over to Chuck, I just want to announce that Peter Francho made a big announcement yesterday. Ellen, did you see that?
I did. It was very exciting. Talking about which we've already had a brief chance to talk to Chuck about what's going on in Social Security, which he will fill you in. Maryland is also actively working to improve their processing system.
Yes, so they allocate $160 million so they can upgrade their computer system, which is great. And the new system, the old system was called Smart. The new system is called Compass. So there you go.
There we go.
So couple of the things I just want to give people some highlights on what's going to be covered. They're going to address the fraud prevention. Increase the ability for taxpayers to manage their accounts via online self-service application. That is a real definite need. I mean, that's something that we've been yelling about, that we've been requesting for many, many years.
True.
Also, a best practice security standards, audit, collection, reporting, and estimating functionality, which is great. And this is great. Security. We can't have enough of it, isn't it the truth? So, I mean, in Facebook Live, I have to wonder if they're even going to be here in the next 10 years. Every time I turn the news on, they're having issues about
the stuff that's going on.
The stuff that's going on. Right. But hey, that's okay. We're here today.
We'll take advantage of it while we can.
That's right. There we go. Well,
okay. So here we are, and talking about security. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about Social Security.
Yeah,
what a great segue.
Right in there.
So anyway, Chuck has been very gracious and agreed to come down and talk to our members and our listeners and viewers, I should say, about what's going on at Social Security and how we can benefit from what services they have to offer. And they're online. So Chuck, take it away.
Thank you, Ellen.
You're welcome.
So good morning, everybody. The first thing before I go too much into the presentation, a couple things for you to know. I used to be the Director of Employer Wage Reporting and Relations Staff, so I have a good overview of the wage reporting process that SSA does, and also understanding you as our customer base, CPAs, accountants, enrolled agents, tax professionals that all of you are, and the clients that you take care of. I have a lot of slides to go through. I tend to talk on the fast side so we can get through this. I will slow down. I'm not going to go word by word on this. The other thing I will remind you before we get into the heart of this is everything that I talk about is free. It's all free services. What you charge your client base for the services you provide them is up to you, because you are, you're a private company and providing services, but all the services that SSA has are free. So I'm going to skip all the way to slide 3 and talk about some tax reminders that you're going to need to know. So for 2018, the tax rate, and you've probably already been doing this year, but at the end of the year, you want to make sure it's correct. The Social Security rate is 7.65%. The self-employment rate is 15.3%. And the max for Social Security earnings is $128,400. And as I'm sure all of you know, there's no maximum for Medicare taxes. There's only a maximum for Social Security taxes. Your W-2s to your clients, who must give them to their employees, is January 31st. And it's the same due date that you have to send your W-2s, whether it's paper or electronically, and hopefully it's electronic, but some of you do send us paper. And that is January 31st. If after 31st, you could be penalized by the IRS. Going on to slide 4. For 2019, basically the percentage for Social Security and self-employment, or employees in self-employment, is the same rates. The Social Security max goes up to $132,900. So when you start setting up your clients for withholding, make sure that that is the maximum amount that you withhold on is $132,900. Okay, Moving on to slide 5. Now, these are things that you might find hopefully interesting. We offer a lot of online services. We do recommend that you file your W-2s electronically. Again, it's all free. We're up to over 90% of all the W-2s that SSA receives comes in electronically online. We redid part of our computer systems. We can do 100 million W-2s in a week. So we get about 250 million. So literally within 3 weeks, we can process all the W-2 forms that we get.
That's incredible.
That's impressive.
Who
Well,
knew?
thank you.
Wow.
I did,
Yes.
but most people don't.
Wow.
So we can
Awesome.
handle that. And also we basically on a daily basis send all that information to IRS because they need it, frankly, for 1040 processing and other things and to keep fraud down low and things of that nature. So on slide 5, there's an employer page. And so that's the first place you want to go to, SSA, www.ssa.gov/employer. It has a lot of information at the top. It has different sections for things specifically. You'll notice, and I have it moved up a little bit, but partway down on the page, online services for employers, CPAs, accountants, enrolled agents, and individuals. So we understand that you're part of our client base. You're an important part of our client base. And so when you're looking for that type of information, it's there. There's handbooks, there's tutorials, there's videos. We're out trying to update some of our videos right now. Some of them admittedly are a little outdated, but I know we're doing some changes on that on the registration process and dealing with the Social Security number verification service, which I'll get to in a minute. So let me talk about Business Services Online. It's basically our portal for filing electronic W-2s with SSA. You have to register to get a user ID and password. It's not the same as for my Social Security, which I'll talk about a little bit later. It's not the same user ID and password that you use for the IRS, because I'm sure almost all of you are dealing with the IRS also. And it's basic information, which I'll get to in a minute. The other things on Business Services Online is W-2s. That was the main reason. You can file it. If your software creates a file, you can send it to us electronically, assuming it's in the right format. We also have a program called W-2 Online and W-2C Online, and I'll go in a little bit more detail on that. But basically, it's a way for you to type. If those of you who are sending paper W-2s out now, you can type them right into our system. We will generate the paper that you need for your clients, and you can send it to us electronically.
Check on interrupt you
Sure.
for 1 moment. When you register initially, how long is it immediate that you get confirmation, or is there a process where you'll get a response email saying 48 hours later? Is it so? If I register today, will I get immediate usage?
In most cases, it will be immediate.
Okay.
If perchance you don't meet all of the initial requirements
Okay.
for us, then you will get some notification, and we have a special employer 800 number. That's not the national 800 number, not the 1-800-772-1213, but there's one just for employers, for CPAs, accountants, and enrolled
Okay.
agents to deal with specifically on these type of issues, so they understand that. The other thing, so I'll jump in since you asked the question about the registration. When you register with us, you register yourself as an individual for your business, and you have a lot of clients that you
Right.
represent. You do not have to list all the clients that you represent when you do that. I know IRS's process is a little bit different, and often you have to put all the EINs of everybody that you're representing. We don't work it that way. The other thing, going back specifically to your question that I didn't totally answer, is we make it pretty easy for you to send us W-2 information. So when you register, it's turned on immediately. Some other things when it deals with names and Social Security numbers, such as the Social Security number verification service, because that's a higher level of authentication and authorization process that we have, that's going to take a little longer, where we
Okay.
actually send through the mail a letter to the employer. If you're the business, it goes to you, but if it's one of your employees who's registering on behalf of your firm, it doesn't go to them, it goes to you. You have to give it to them. There's kind of
okay.
I wouldn't say convoluted, but we set up processes to make it as secure as possible, because as you noted before, Social Security is our middle name.
Yes.
Okay, so I think I already told you, we're up to slide 7. You register as an individual on behalf of an employer. You don't have to register individually for each of the companies. Basic information, your name, your Social Security number, your date of birth. The question I get a lot is, Well, I'm not supposed to give my social security number to anybody. We are the Social Security Administration. We have everybody's social security number. So we just use that as a check. I already told you about that. I told you about the registration process. So you're going to, you choose your own password. We give you a user ID. It's somewhat a complicated user ID, but we're not that progressive thinking yet at this stage of the game. We're looking at making some changes, but right now we give you a user ID, which you're going to need to put someplace, you know, the little yellow sticky that you write on and stick someplace that hopefully nobody else has seen. You get
In
to,
the folder, in the drawer.
that's right.
Yeah.
You get to choose the password. And as I said before, in some cases, we send out an activation code, not for specifically wage reporting. So if it's January the 30th, and oh my gosh, I need to send in my W-2s to Social Security, you could actually register that day. I recommend doing it earlier, but theoretically you could register that day, get your user ID, have your password, send it to us electronically, and you meet the 31st date.
Now, on the password, I know a lot of the account tax softwares and everything are making you change it periodically, like every month. So how does Social Security do it?
So our rules right now are every 90 days.
Every 90 days.
Except, so we had a variance in that rule because it's crazy because most of you are just sending it to us information once a year.
Mhm.
And why should you have to come in every 3 months to change? So basically, after 90 days, your password goes into a hold. And the next time you come in after 90 days, whether it's 100 days, 365 days, we tell you, put in your old password, change it to the new password.
Oh, that's
great.
nice.
So you don't have to come in every 90 days. It's the first time after. It took a while to get that negotiated out, but that's what happens.
Wonderful.
You need
Thank
to
you.
get that spread around the government, IRS too. That would be so helpful.
I have enough work to do.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit. A lot of you use software. I'm going to guess almost everybody uses software of some sort to generate, you know, you're generating 1099s. Obviously for us, you're doing 941s probably, and you're doing W-2s. So if your software is compatible to ours, and it's what's known as the EFW2 format, you can go on the website and find out some information there. You can basically take that file and upload it to us. The other thing, as I mentioned, is W-2 and W-2C. I didn't want to forget that. W-2Cs, often you have to do a W-2C correction, and sometimes you have software that's doing all your W-2s, and you're fine with that, but oh gosh, I got one W-2C that I have to do correction, and I know how much everybody enjoys doing W-2Cs, but we offer a free service where you can type in that W-2C right online, and you can print out the paper copy to give to your client and send it
Oh,
to
that's
us
nice.
electronic, and that's all free, and then you get a PDF of it and store all that. Okay, so I'm going to go up to slide 10. Now, when you get into business services online and to the electronic wage reporting section of it, this page is a little bit convoluted, but you can see up the top, it says forms W2, W3 online, form W2C, W3C online, upload format wage file. And I'm going to talk about that. So again, if your software creates a file and instead of then printing out paper and mailing it to us, you can just send it to us. So how do you do this? So I'm up to slide 11. It's a basic browse function that you often use in other things, other computer programs. You tell us where on your computer that file is. We get it. You hit an upload button. When we get it, on slide 12 is the confirmation, is the receipt basically that tells you this is the file, we received it, and this is what we call a wage file identifier. This is the unique code for your file that you sent to us. So you'll have confirmation. So I'm going to tell you a quick story that was told to me by an accountant. Accountant got his, does the W-2s for the client, gives it to the client, goes to their office. Here's all the paper W-2s. Here's the W-3 filled out. All you need to do is sign that W-3. Here's the envelope. Here's the stamps on it. Send it away. Great. A year later, the client calls the accountant and said, I got a letter from Social Security that said they never got the W-2s. Being the good tax practitioner that they were, they go in to see their client. They look in the folder is all the W-2s, the envelope, the client never did what they were supposed to do. It's your
Yeah.
clients. That's right. It's your client. What are you going to do? Yell at them? No, you have to bear the burden. So the things that we're offering hopefully will solve that problem for you. And so I'm going to talk about, so this receipt, for example, you have a receipt to show that you do. Because some people say, well, I want it by paper to make sure I get it certified and this and that. You have a receipt that's going to tell them. Okay, I'm going to talk about W-2 online, and that will even make it easier for some of you who are doing paper for some of your clients, and they want a piece of paper because you need that paper to give to your clients because they have to give the W-2s to their employees. So W-2 online, and I'm up to slide 14 now, basically looks like a W-2 form. So it's similar to the W-2s, and you fill them in the same as you would. Now, some of the information like the employer name, the EIN, that gets propagated because we already have that information as part of the registration or when you're first coming in. So it's on all the W-2s, and you can do up to 50 of these, online at one time, and it's all free. You can also put in the state information. Now, this file doesn't go to the state, so you still have to deal with the state separately, but all that information is already there for the state. So the W-2s that you have to send, whatever copy it is, BCD, whatever, you would have that for the state. Now I'm up to slide 15. So when you're all done with it, you need a W-3. We're going to generate the W-3 for you. So literally, you do not even have to do the math. We do all the math for you. The math will be correct. Now, obviously, you want to match it up to your 941s to make sure that your W-3s, all your W-2s combined for your W-3 and the W-3 totals match up to the 941. But we have all that there. And then there's a little thing that says, I agree that all this matches, and you don't have to sign anything. On the next slide, on slide 16, shows we have a print file. So we save it as a PDF. So you can print out the appropriate copies for all your clients. And in your case, instead of you having to keep paper copies of it, you can just save that PDF because maybe 6 months later, one of your clients says that Sally is filing for a mortgage and she can't find her W-2, and don't you have her W-2? Well, you have the PDF right there, and you'll save that on your computer, and you give it to your client, and you make them so happy. What great service you provide.
We are looking like
to
a
them.
gem.
I
Thank
know,
you
we
so
are
much.
rocking it out the door.
Yeah.
That's right. We're all in this together. So I'm up to slide 17. And so once everything is done, you get the confirmation. Again, you have some clients who say, well, how do I know you did this? You know, everybody has like one client who like, I need, so you can print out the confirmation that shows this is the confirmation number. This is the date it was received. I can be sure that SSA got it on time. So you're not going to have to worry about late penalties and things like that because you have all the confirmation that you need. And on 9 is like the final part of that. Again, it's the PDF, that the final version. There's actually an earlier version that you can print out and take a look in case you need to make any changes, but I'm not going to go into all that detail right now. Okay, so we're up to slide 19. The Social Security number verification service, and I want to make sure people understand what this is. As I understand, IRS now has a TIN matching service. They didn't used to, and that's for 1099s in most cases. This is for W-2 forms and for W-2s. It's not E-Verify. It's not to verify whether somebody's legally allowed to work in the United States. That's a whole other issue. I've had to deal with ICE myself professionally, not coming after me. But I understand their point of view. But this is to make sure that the names and numbers of the name and social security number that goes on the W-2 match our records. And so what we recommend is when somebody gets hired, check it right then and there to make sure people, and then before you send in your W-2s to us, before you do end of year payroll, you may want to check it. People get married, people get divorced, people change their names. I recommend after the wedding, don't go to the reception, go straight to the Social Security office.
Why bother? Don't
right.
enjoy anything. Skip it and go
That's
right
right.
to that.
Go
most
to
important
begin the
parts.
suffering quickly.
Yeah.
But most people don't do that. And so they tell the employer about that because, of course, they get a party, they get a present. We are not giving out presents. So it's a way to check that information. And on the sheet here, and if you go to our website, it'll give you, and you see at the bottom, when you go to the employer site, there's a specific section that you can click on that says verify SSNs, and it gives you a lot more detail than what I'm going to give you today. There's two ways of doing this. You can send a file if you have software that puts into a format, including an Excel spreadsheet. It's a little complicated, but we explain how to do that. Or if you have software to do it, you can send us a file of up to 250,000 names and SSNs, and you'll get a response the next business day. So for those of you who have really big clients, but you can do it with like 10 or 15. We also have a screen where you can input it, and you can send us, and I'm going to go on to the next screen, and you get an immediate response. So we're up to page 21. So,
Can I interrupt you again?
sure, I
Chuck?
can.
Is there any, in doing this whole verification, is there any point does the system tell you or tell the person there's a fraud activity on this or anything like that? Or is it just a verification process?
There's a verification codes. So the verification codes basically say, name and number, they don't match, date of birth may not match, and there's another problem. If there's another problem that says they need to come into the local Social Security office,
That's your clue.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay, gotcha.
I think you can read between the lines
There you
here.
go.
But that's the way we have that set up to check for things like that, because we understand that happens.
Sure. Okay.
The other thing is, just so you know, we don't share this information with anybody else. We also don't give you back the correct name or the correct number, because we don't know what it is. Is the
Sure.
name right? Is the number right? And you can try multiple variations, because all of us have mistyped at some point in time something. So it says, well, it doesn't match. Well, we'll try the number, make sure you typed it in right. Maybe they forgot something. People have
Transposed
names
it,
like
sure.
Beth, but it's Elizabeth. Those
Right.
type of things. Well, everybody calls me Beth. Well, your real name is Elizabeth, and that's what we have on our records when you initially got your
Okay.
card.
That's good.
The other thing to know is you can do this on behalf of your clients. So though you have to put in their EIN. So on page 21, you wouldn't put your own EIN. All of you, I'm sure, have your own, but your client's EIN, and then the Social Security, it's a minimum of the Social Security and name is what you're going to need to be able to verify that. And then we'll come back with responses of whether they match or don't match. So let's see, 22, we're up to 23. So quickly, if something doesn't match, make sure you don't have a typo, ask to see the card. You can't demand to see the card, but you can ask to see the card. And if you can't get it straightened out or your client can't, ask them to come talk to us, because really it's a problem between them and us, because most people want their Social Security wages reported properly. On 24, basically, don't violate any laws. It's that.
It's pretty simple that way.
Yeah, right,
24.
right.
So let's see, we're up to slide 25. Something that's just starting this year, we haven't done this for a while, but we're starting it again, is what's called employer correction request notices. So what's going to start happening, and we did a mailing out this year of people that had this problem, but we haven't enforced it. But this year, starting around the end of March, beginning of April, any W-2 file that you send us that has a name or SSN mismatch, we will send a letter to the employer, not to you as the third party, but to the employer, that says the name and number does not match. That's one reason why you want to use the Social Security number verification service to get that. And we're actually building videos to explain how to use SSNVS. And there's a separate website that goes into this, gives you samples of the letters that we already have up that you can take a look at. And if this year we did send it out to the third parties, if one of the third parties received it, but people change things. So if one of your clients said, I got this odd letter from Social Security, and certainly if they received one this year, here's the website to look at it. If they get it next year, it'll tell them what they need to do to try to fix it. Page 26, slide 26. I want to talk about my Social Security for just a minute, and you as a tax professional and how you would deal with that as opposed to the average person. Anybody can have a My Social Security account. You cannot really have access to their account. You can help them just like you help them with their taxes. So you can help them so they have their earnings. And so one thing is they can see all the years of all the earnings that they've paid into Social Security. There's also an estimate of what their benefits are going to be. Often they ask you, well, what can I do? They ask me, what do you think should I retire, and how should I deal with this, and things of that nature. Most of you aren't financial FPPs. But your clients want help and you want to help them. So you can be with them when they go into the My Social Security account and look at the estimates. The other thing on there is SSA 1099s. You're doing taxes and all of a sudden I didn't get my SSA 1099 or I can't find it. If they have a My Social Security account, they can access it right then and there and print it out right at that time. The other thing that they have is we have a thing called the retirement estimator. You don't necessarily need a My Social Security account. Again, you can do estimates. If I retire at 62, 65, for retirement age, which is now 66. What if I work to 70? What if I lower my earnings? You can help them with those type of calculations. Again, that's free.
Okay, I'm going to jump in again. I just want to tell you that I just recently did my Social Security. I mean, literally the last 2 weeks, and it was very, very easy, very efficient, and I just want to tell you that it was very easy to use, and I got all the information I needed, so it was very comprehensive.
And this was for you personally?
Yes, for me personally, I had to get that information. So good job.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes. Yay, us.
Yeah.
Okay, so on slide 27 is kind of the resources of where you can get things. There's, www.ssa.gov is the regular site, but ssa.gov/employer is where you want to go for all the employer wage reporting, tax, professional type of information. We have people at our specific phone number for employers, the employer 800 number as we call it, 1-800-772-6270. And there's also an email address for them. And if you have more like computer technical issues, we have a separate number for them. Agents are standing by, not 24 hours. We have employer service liaison officers. There's about 8 of them nationwide. You can find them on our website. I have our website address and the national 800 number, 1-800-772-1213. I do want to tell you that if your clients think about, and you can file for almost anything except for SSI benefits, but for retirement benefits and Medicare, you can do this online. If you want to go into a field office, I would never tell people not to go into a field office, but make an appointment. Because if you just walk into a field office, you could be waiting there, frankly, hours. It's not the best of news, but I'm trying to be straight with you and explain that. I called the 800 number. I just signed up for Medicare, and I wanted to go into the field office because I work for Social Security, and it's kind of like my world. So I wanted to see what it's like and what you and your clients have to go through. They told me how long the wait would be on the phone. This was just on the phone. It was 1 hour and 26 minutes. I had to wait on phone. Now I talked to my friends because we're all around Medicare age, and they said in many cases said you could either wait this, and they tell you how long it is, or they'll call you back. And they said they all got a call back around the same time that they said. So for some reason, I was not offered that option, but nonetheless, that's something to think about. You don't really want to go to an office and sit there for hours on end because they've cut back on our staffing, and so there's longer waits, and the baby boomers are filing for benefits. But pretty much most things that you need are on our website, and our website is open 24 hours a day. And that's it for me. Questions?
Wow.
Comments?
Any questions from Facebook? No, none. Okay.
Great.
Wow.
That was an excellent presentation.
Very,
thank
very
you so
informative.
much.
Very informative.
True.
So it was a great program to end with at the end of the year.
It is.
Yes, this is great.
Lots of great information, and let's use their services because we're going to be getting into our busy season for W-2 preparation next month, and this is going to be super helpful if we can upload and e-file these things. Basically, I'll use the term e-file, but if we can e-file the W-2s and W-3. Won't that save everybody a lot of time?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, really awesome.
I just want to circle back to where we started with the program with the state. I did want to tell everyone that all these changes will have no impact on the 2019 tax season. So don't freak out and say, oh my gosh, we're going to, it's going to slow the system down. And none of this. This is going to be a process. It's going to take several years to go through to build the entire thing. So, and again, he made it very clear there has no impact on 2019.
Good.
Yeah. Okay.
So smooth sailing, right?
Smooth sailing. Moving on.
Well,
Well, I think this is the end for
this
the
is
end.
the end.
I want to wish everyone a happy holiday.
Yeah.
Now, remember that our first program will be on January 3rd, and we will be having Matthew Lincoln with us, and he'll be talking about Google applications, which are going to be very helpful when you're during tax season, make you a little bit more efficient possibly, and using some little quick tips So we'll be happy to have Matthew with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so he'll be
Awesome.
great.
Great.
So
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Good tax season. Please join us. We are having a pre-tax season kickoff here in the office on January 17th, a Thursday. We invite you to come as well.
Yes.
A little wine and cheese and talking about what's going to be happening and sort of commiserating all together and
Yes.
toasting in the next
And we're
wonderful
having
filing
shredding
season.
too.
Oh, don't
So
forget,
if you want
bring
to
some
clean
shredding.
out, yes,
Yeah.
bring some shred.
We'll
I'll
have
bring
the
free
shred
shredding for you as well.
Right.
Well, Chuck, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Sure.
My pleasure.
Yes, it's been a real delight. It
Well,
really has.
Thank you.
So
All right. Signing off.
Signing
Take care.
off. Bye-bye
Have a great
now.
day.